Daf Yomi Tractate Zevachim, page 40a, top of the page with the words Amar Mar. Amar Ma, Eini Elamatan Shevachim Akavos, Bechom Bechomecha, Amar Papa, Bepa, Ubidingoim. The Gemara analyzes the Braita in detail. The Master said in the Braita, I have a derivation only with regard to the 7 placements on the curtain separating between the sanctuary and Holy of Holies, that they are indispensable, as these 7 are indispensable in all cases. The Gemara asks, where are the 7 indispensable? Rav Papa says, in the case of the red heifer, see Numbers 19, 2-4, and in the purification process of one afflicted with leprous marks, see Leviticus 14:16. Matan Arba Minayin, the Braita continues. From where is it derived that the same applies to the 4 placements on the inner altar? Talmud Lo Amar, Ken Yaseh, Ma'ash Namatan Sheva Nechtivan Uchafilan, Matan Arba Nami Kativan Uchafilan. The Braita continues, from where is it derived that the same applies to the 4 placements on the inner altar? The verse states, so shall he do. Leviticus 4:20. The Gemara asks, what is different about 7 placements that they should be indispensable? If you say that the reason is that the 7 placements are written and repeated by means of the terms, and he shall do as he did, which teaches that they are indispensable, I can say that the 4 placements as well are written and repeated. Why then should their halacha be any different? Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah, lo nitzracha ela Rabbi Shimon, Titanya, Nimala Omer Keren Karnos Shtaim, Limata hu Omer Keren Karnos Arba. Divrei Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yirmiyah says, this is necessary only according to the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, who maintains that only 2 placements are written in this chapter, while the other 2 are derived through a juxtaposition. Consequently, a specific derivation is required for these, as it is taught in a Braita with regards to the placements of the inner altar above. In the case of the bull, for an unwitting sin of the anointed priest, the verse states corner in the plural form with corners. See Leviticus 4:7. Meaning it says corners in the plural where it could have written corner in the singular. These are 2 corners, and below with regard to the bull for an unwitting communal sin, it again states corner in the plural form corners. See Leviticus 14. Together these amount to 4 corners. This is the statement of Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Eino Tzarich, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Ba'oel Moed, Al Kol Ha'amur Ba'oel Moed, Rabbi Yehuda Ken Yaseh Mai Avidle. Rabbi Yehuda says this derivation is not necessary, as it states in these same verses, and he shall put of the blood upon the corners of the altar, which is before the Lord, which is in the tent of meeting, Leviticus 14. As a proposed expression in the tent of meeting teaches that the blood must be placed on all the corners of the altar that are stated with regard to the tent of meeting, meaning on all 4 corners. The Gemara asks, and Rabbi Yehuda, what does he do with the phrase, so shall he do? Which Rabbi Shimon interprets as referring to the 4 placements מבוילה לחידיתניה, לפי שלא למדנו לפר יום הכיפורים, לסמיכה, ושירא אדם מן העין, תלמוד לומר כן יעשה. The Gemara answers that Rabbi Yehuda requires this verse for that which is taught in a Braita, as we did not learn with regard to the bowl of Yom Kippur that placing hands is required, meaning that the high priest must place his hands on this animal before it is slaughtered, and likewise it is not stated that the remainder of its blood must be poured on the base of the altar. From where is it derived that these actions must be performed? The verse states, "So shall he do." ולפר יום הכיפורים לא למדנו אמרת לפר זה יום הכיפורים. The Gemara asks, and did we not learn with regard to the bowl of Yom Kippur that these requirements apply? But you said earlier in the Braita with the bull, Leviticus 4:20. This alludes to the bull of Yom Kippur, which indicates that all the rites performed in connection with the bull for an unwitting communal sin apply also to the bull of Yom Kippur. Itztrich sol kedai techamina animili avoided back well kapara. Aval avoided like back kapara imalan mashmalan. Imalo kamashmalan. The Gemara answers, the derivation from the phrase "so shall you do" is necessary, as it could enter your mind to say that this matter, the comparison between the bull for an unwanting communal sin and the bull of Yom Kippur applies only to a service that is indispensable for atonement, for example, the sprinkling of the blood. But with regard to a service that is not indispensable for atonement, such as placing hands on the head of the animal or pouring out the remainder of the blood, one might say that these actions need not be performed. Therefore, the verse teaches us, "So shall he do," meaning these services too must be performed with the bull of Yom Kippur. The Rabbi Shimon, hi, be'ohel moed, ma yavid le, be'ohel moed, miboyle she'im niftacha tikra shel heichal, לא היה מה זה, ואידך מאשר אידך אשר לא דרש. The Gemara asks, when Rabbi Shimon, what does he do with this phrase "in the tent of meeting," from which Rabbi Yehuda derives that the blood must be placed on all four corners of the altar? The Gemara answers, Rabbi Shimon requires the phrase "in the tent of meeting" to teach that if the roof of the sanctuary was breached by a hole, the priest would not sprinkle the blood, as it would no longer be called the tent of meeting. The Gemara asks, and the other time, Rabbi Yehuda, from where does he derive this halacha? The Gemara explains that Rabbi Yehuda derives it from the superfluous term, which is in the tent of meeting. Leviticus chapter 4, verse 7 and 18. The Gemara asks, and the other time, Rabbi Shimon, does he not interpret the term, which is, as he maintains, that this expression is not significant enough to serve as a source of a halacha? Abaya amar, leRabbi Yehuda nami yitztrich, so kedai techamina, midida v'yasmicha u'shir adam. אבל גם דכתיבן וכתילן לא מעכבה מתן ארבע נמי לא תתעכב כמשמעו. Abaye said, according to the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda as well, it was necessary to learn from the phrase "so shall he do" that the four placements are indispensable, as it might enter your mind to say that just as it is with regard to placing hands and the remainder of the blood, that even though they are written and repeated, they are not indispensable. So too, the 4 placements of blood should not be indispensable. Therefore, the phrase, so shall he do, teaches us that this is not the case. And the 4 sprinklings are indeed indispensable. Zepal Yom Kippurim Lema Hilchasa Ilakev Pshita Chuka Ksiva Be. The Brisa teaches with the bull, Leviticus 4:20. This alludes to the bull of Yom Kippur. To what halacha does this statement relate? If it serves to teach that all matters stated with regard to the bull of Yom Kippur are indispensable, this is obvious, since the word statute is written concerning it, and this shall be an everlasting statute to you. Leviticus 16:29. And there is a principle that halachot, described as statutes, are indispensable. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak lo nitzcha ela Rav Yehuda damar ki ketiv yichugad dvarim elasim b'gvidi lavan b'fnim shimigdim ma'aseh lechaveru lo yasu leklum. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak said, this statement is necessary only according to the opinion of Rav Yehuda, who says, when the term statute is written concerning the Yom Kippur service, indicating that no details may be altered, it is written only with regard to actions performed in white garments inside the Holy of Holies. For example, burning the incense and sprinkling the blood, which are the essential services of the day. And it teaches that if the high priest performed one of the actions before another, meaning not in the proper order, he has done nothing. אבל דברים הנעשים בבגדי לבן בחוץ, הקדים מעשה חברוי, מה שעשה עשוי, אמה מדיח סדרן, לא מעכבי, הזויס נמי לא מעכבי, כמה שמלום. But with regard to those actions performed in white garments outside in the sanctuary, if he performed one action before another, what he did is done, and he is not required to repeat the rite. Consequently, one might say that from the fact that their order is not indispensable, it may be derived that the sprinklings, being the placements themselves, are also not indispensable. Therefore, the term with the bull teaches us that the placements are indeed indispensable. Maskiv Rav Papa, Maskiv Rav Papa, Maskiv Rav Papa, down and a new, down and a new. Umi Masizam Tachi, Vechatanya, Mchil Mechav Chodesh, Im Chiper Kilo, Im Lo Chiper Kilo, Livere Rabbi Kivo. Rav Papa objects to these. And how can you say that Rabbi Yehuda derives from here that the placements are indispensable? But isn't it taught in a Braita, the verse discussing the Yom Kippur service states, and when he has finished atoning for the sanctuary, Leviticus 16:20, this indicates that if he performed the atonement, meaning sprinklings, inside the sanctuary, he has finished the order of the service, even though he has not poured the remainder of the blood on the base of the altar. And if he did not perform the atonement, he has not finished. This is the statement of Rabbi Akiva. Amar lo Rabbi Yehuda, mipnei ma lo nomar im kila kiper, v'im lo kila lo kiper. Rabbi Yehuda said to him, for what reason do we not say, if he finished the entire service, which includes sprinkling the blood in the sanctuary and pouring the remainder of the blood onto the base of the altar, he has facilitated atonement, and if he did not finish, he has not facilitated atonement. This indicates that Rabbi Yehuda derives from this verse the halacha that the sprinklings in the sanctuary are indispensable. Les dam or bedam uvetvila es Amar Rav Bar Yaakov lo nitzcha echala. Rav Papa says this reference to the bull of Yom Kippur, and the term with the bull is necessary only to apply to the bull of Yom Kippur. 3 halachot that are derived from that which is stated with regard to the bull for an unwitting sin of the anointed priest. And the priest shall immerse his finger in the blood. Leviticus 4:6. These halachot can be summarized in the shortened form of blood, and with immersion. The Gemara elaborates with regard to the word Rav Bar Yaakov says this word is necessary only to render fit. Amin. Now turn to 40b. Amin shebe'etzba adam. Shehei adam shiur tefila mikora v'tava lo misapeg. So this word is necessary only to render fit. Top of 40b now. Service performed by a priest who has a wart or blister on his finger. These are not considered an interposition between his finger and the blood. With regard to the term in the blood, Leviticus 4:6, this teaches that the blood in the service vessel must be of a sufficient measure for immersion from the outset. The priest must initially collect in the vessel enough blood for all the sprinklings, rather than adding blood to the vessel for each sprinkling. Finally, the term, and the priest shall immerse his finger in the blood, indicates that there must be enough blood in the vessel such that the priest can immerse his finger in it and not have to wipe the sides of the utensil to collect blood for sprinkling. Let's see if we can finish this daf. Oh, I could probably finish it. I'm going to go for well, you know what, let's call this a daf, and maybe we'll okay, we'll do the next daf.